Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. I am here for the first drive in Arizona of this vehicle that you have been waiting for and I have been waiting for. What the heck is it? It's the all-new 2024 Lexus GX 550. Our particular one is an Overtrail Plus, and it's in one of my favorite colors, Nori Green. But before we get into this mid-size off-roading luxury SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. It's been a hot minute. The GX really hasn't seen much when it comes to redesigns for quite a few years. But it's interesting because the GX has been in the Lexus lineup since 2002. So we're talking about 22 years ago. Boy, has time flown by. Now, of course, today there's a lot of competition, believe it or not, when it comes to luxury off-roaders. You would think the two would not mix, would be like oil and water, but what you're finding is more of these luxury brands want to have true off-roading capability. Now, what's fascinating is that Lexus is, of course, known for reliability, known for that high resale value that it holds on to for so long. But has Lexus made the right changes to the new GX to bring it to the competition and yet still keep true to their fundamental core philosophies? Let's go ahead, let's dive into this 2024 Nori Green GX 550 Overtrail Plus and find out, first of all, is it worth the price? Because now we have pricing. And number two, is it better than the OG? Who's that? The Land Rover Defender. So let's go ahead, let's dive in and find out. Right off the bat, the dimensions. This thing just is like the perfect size. It actually sits on that GAF platform. So we're talking about that box frame platform, really give it that durable strength. And then of course, when it comes to the outside wrapper, we have an all-new design. Look at those flared fenders. I love on the Overtrail trim, especially the way the fenders flare out, but then you have additional fender flare put on the side to tuck in those 33-inch tires. And they're the real deal off-road grade tires, but we'll get to that in a second. Starting in this upper corner, super nice when it comes to their technology on their lighting. You're gonna have that multi-beam LED headlights, your LED daytime running lamp, such a signature style of Lexus, and of course, turn signals, full LED. I do have to zonk this area. This is a fake vent. Not so sure why they had to bring this down, because I feel like if that wasn't there, you would still have quite an aggressive front end, and definitely a front end that looks more like a true Lexus. So not so sure about that, so I am gonna zonk that, but one thing I'm not gonna zonk is as you drop down, you are gonna have your LED fog lamps and cornering lights, which are really nice in this super clean housing. A little bit of gloss black, nothing too crazy, and some flat black on the lower portion. Now, if you're wondering, well, Joe, I wanna go off-road, I need ground clearance. How much ground clearance do we have? 8.66 inches. It's actually 8.66 repeating inches between the ground and the underbelly of this thing. Now, as we come across that front grille, I'm telling you, I think that for a new Lexus product, this is probably my favorite grille. The way that they took the spindle grille design and brought it into a new shape. Look at this, full functionality. You're gonna have active shutters that open and close. You'll notice that we have functionality on the corners as well. No off-road SUV, or any vehicle for that matter that's off-road capable, is worthy unless it has a forward-facing camera. This is an important part of technology to help you see the path in front of you. So I like the way we have that forward-facing camera there. And then as we work our way down, instead of it being all just flat black, which I like the way the grille's flat black on this Overtrail Plus. If it was gloss black, that would be way too much, and it kind of would like distract the actual function of this vehicle, which is to go off-road. So I like the way they went body colored with our beautiful Nori Green, nice metallic shade of green. We have a little bit of a lower area here that curves underneath, And what you're gonna find, ow, just hurt my freaking knuckle. The reason why I hurt my knuckle is we have skid plates underneath the belly of this thing to protect the underside bits. That's also showing the intention of this being a real off-roader. Now, talk about water. This goes through over 2 feet of water. So very, very capable. Let's see the rest of it. As we rise back up, the hood, they did a spectacular job. And the reason why is I like the way the center section is low, because with these higher sides on the hood, it's almost like a pontoon boat where it gives you great visual reference points from when you're behind the wheel. I've only been behind the wheel for a couple milliseconds. It's looking great. Now, as we come around the bend, you got to go real wide around that fender flare. Looky what we have here. On the Overtrail Plus, you're getting off-road spec wheels, 18-inch wheel with the real deal off-road tires. These are those Toyo open country all-terrain tires. You can see the shielding in the side, 33-inch tires, 265 on the width, meaty 70 series sidewall. And then Lori's gonna zoom in and show you some of that box frame that we have, the suspension bits, and everything that is new for this GX 550. Now, one of the areas I'm a little confused why they went gloss black is right behind the hood. This whole area where your windshield wipers are is gloss black. Now, this does remind me of gloss black on the Land Rover Defender as well, but I really think they should have just went with that flat black, like on the grille. Let me know how you feel about that in the comment section. You do have gloss black on the mirror caps, but these are power folding, 360-degree cameras, and you have the LED turn signals. I like the way they went vertical rather than horizontal there with a little bit of texture design. Gives it just a nice little extra something that makes it stand out. Now, from the side of the vehicle, you can see the size of this beast. And it really does play well with the similar size of the Land Rover Defender. Of course, we're gonna have our raised roof rails. You can get your crossbars. You'll notice we have that two-tone paint job. Black roof with the nori green, and the way that it brings the black into the rest of the side of the vehicle gives it a nice cohesive design. We have stationary running boards, which I'm very happy to say, you got big feet. You know what they say about people with big feet? They have big shoes, and the big shoes fit nicely on those running boards. Gloss black on the door handles. Working our way towards the rear. Love the way they worked the rear quarter window. Didn't put a bunch of trim all around it. And you see how they took that flat gunmetal gray finish to separate the roof? They did it at the front on the A-pillar, and they did it on the rear pillar. Look at the way they styled the glass, nice and high. Gives that area of light to come into the back of the vehicle. And speaking of the back, this is where things get even better. Swinging it wide, it's almost perfect. I love the nice long, low roof spoiler. We got to get rid of this guy though. Zonk on the rear wiper. Put that bad boy underneath there. But what I like about the rear is that this rear glass opens separately. Look at the way they took the Lexus signature lighting and brought it all the way across. Full LED, no Thomas Edison light bulbs here. And then the GX 550 badge, the way they spell out Lexus on the back. I'm glad they didn't put an Overtrail Plus badge. We don't need that. You could tell that this is the Overtrail Plus, I promise you. And then as we work down the ground level, looks like a bird just went to the bathroom there. So that doesn't come with it when you buy it. That's optional. But I like the way they went with the flat gray. This comes off because remember, you can tow with this vehicle. But what I really want to dive into is what the heck is powering it, because it's quite different from the previous gen. So let's pop the hood and check out the heart of this GX 550. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have hood struts. If you're saying right now at home, I want my MTV, I want my V8, you're not gonna get it in this new GX 550. What do we have? Instead of a V8, we have a twin turbo V6. So technically it's a 3.4 liter twin turbo V6, but I'm just calling it 3.5 because that just sounds better. 3.5 liter twin turbo V6, putting out 349 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque. Let's think about this. If you have your Kleenex out right now because you're crying that there's no V8, this actually has more horsepower and torque. 48 more horsepower than the V8 version. It's made it to a 10-speed automatic, 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds. Top speed is governed to 109 miles per hour. You have full-time four-wheel drive. The vehicle weighs 5,705 pounds. It could tow 8,000 pounds. And if you're looking at MPGs, 15 in the city, 21 on the highway. And guess what? This thing is built in Japan, which I don't know. There's just something about when a Lexus or a Toyota is built in Japan. It just has that little extra something special. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire this thing up and see it go. All right, guys, we're inside this all-new, totally redesigned 2024 Lexus GX 550 Overtrail Plus. It's a mouthful, but they made a mouthful of changes to this redesign. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, lay it on me. I want one of these. I like to go camping, but I really go glamping. And if I'm going to go on an adventure, I don't want to go bare bones. I'm really liking what this Lexus GX 550 is bringing. Lay it on me. What's the price? So base price to get into a GX 550 period is an MSRP of $65,000. This Overtrail Plus, which there is an Overtrail, this has all the special tech and niceties. Overtrail Plus has an MSRP right around $77,000. Let's see if it's worth the money and how it stacks up to the Land Rover. To the door panels. I love what they've done. Nice, soft, smooth touch material. You have really clean design. Look at the way they brought this almost like a honeycomb, like a bee's honeycomb setup with a little bit of green there. Really digging that, and I'm liking that wood style finish. We have the Mark Levinson premium sound system in here with a ton of speakers. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, how many speakers can there possibly be? You're looking at 21 speakers. There's 12 cup holders. One of them is in that lower pocket down there, but door pocket is on the tight side. So you might be able to get one Arizona rattlesnake taco in there. You can't go for the rattlesnake burrito. You're gonna have to go with just an Arizona specialty. It's a rattlesnake taco, one in the door pocket, and of course a Pepsi to wash it down. Now going from the door panel to the dash, look at how far forward the dash is. It really gives a lot of room for the passenger. You have a place for your off-roading Twinkies. Remember, an off-roading Twinkie is filled with fudge instead of the cream. I love this aluminum style finish. Even the way they did the AC vents, nicely sculpted, very bold, just like the exterior. The interior is bold as well. And what do we have? 12.3 inches of infotainment system. This is that same Lexus multimedia software that we've already brought you. So I don't have to go really far in depth. It's got over-the-air updates, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, full touchscreen, of course. But let me show you the special touch when you go with the Overtrail. Off-road information, check it out. You actually have how much brake you're using, how much throttle you're using, the 4x4 system, which remember is full, and you have your H4, which is 4 high, and we got our different modes, which not only does it show here, but it also shows on the dash. I'll show you that when you come to the business end. You even have your pitch and roll. Don't be a pitch, and you can watch your pitch and roll right there. Let me throw it into reverse. Backup camera, nice and large, clear resolution, 360 cam. They got you covered nicely there. And we're right back where we started. Technically, That's where we started. You have your 3 stages of ventilated seats, 3 stages of heated seats. It's all through the touchscreen. So very easy to do. Heated steering wheel, dual climate control with real knobs. This is the only thing that might get a little cumbersome, but I do like the way you could just hit the plus or minus side. I know that seems really basic, but not a lot of vehicles do that. And I'm glad that this Lexus does. Real volume knob, your AC vents, and then down below, look what we have, our mode selector knob. You have your crawl control, your tow haul mode, and then you'll notice USB-C's nicely in that silver trim. Slide that down, there's your 12 volt. Look at the stitching. Really nice finishes. Even a knee pad, so when you're off-roading and your passenger and you are banging your knees against this thing, it's gonna not bruise them and make them all black and blue. Slide this door open. 2 mega cup holders and your Lexus key fob. No, it will not say GX 550 on it. That's just for the media drive. All the rest of the buttons. This bad boy is going to control your 10-speed automatic. And then we do have a torsion locking center diff and rear diff, and that's your 4x4 system. It's all by the flip of a switch, literally. Wireless charging, even for an iPhone 47. Nice soft material. Open it up. That's not just a freaking center console holder. This is a cool box. So we turn it on and you could cool your off-road Twinkies. And then the seats. It's called New Lux. And boy, does it look good. The stitching, perforated. Look at the way they did this design in here. A little bit of green Alcantara style material. Nice bolstering. And then of course you're gonna have full electric assist for the passenger. Full electric assist for the driver. The big zonk. Are you ready for it? Drum roll. What is that? What is that? Standard size sunroof. This needs a panoramic sunroof pronto for $77,000. So that's a big zonk. But why don't you get your butt over here? I want to show you behind the wheel on this new GX 550. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. Like I said, you got those nice stationary running boards, and you're going to be greeted to every time you open up the door. This Lexus sill plate, it illuminates LED lighting, and I love the aluminum finish. And you have all-weather floor mats with the GX logo there. That's worth an extra 5 horsepower in my book. And then you'll see you have your seat controls, easy to get to. Seats feel good. Love the two-tone, love the material, and then the steering wheel. Power tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then you'll see the leather all the way around. I wish they gave us real stitching, not this fake stuff. So that is a zonk, but I do like the flat black on all the switch gear. You do have paddles to go up and down that 10-speed automatic, and you have your buttons over here for 3 memory seat settings. So you could actually let 2 other friends borrow your GX 550 if you trust them. And then you have that nice large 12.3-inch full digital gauge cluster. Check this out. You want to play some Gran Turismo here? I'm going to play Gran Turismo with you. The modes. Look at the way it has the color, the graphics. You got your custom mode. So many different ways to set up the drive perfectly to whatever you want for your particular experience in your GX 550. Love the way they did that. Such nice technology, and that's what you get when you go Overtrail Plus. And you have a head-up display. So they got you covered there. But let's get in the back seat, because that's one of the interesting things is that this can be optioned differently. We have a 2-row. You could actually get a 3-row. But let's get into the back seat because we just have 2 rows in this GX 550. All right, guys, back seat time. And what I love about the boxy style of this GX 550, which remember, it's wider than the previous GX 550. It's longer than the previous GX 550. It's higher than the GX 550, the new GX 550 compared to the previous one. That gives you more passenger volume. So I had plenty of room up front, plenty of room in the back. And remember, I'm 6 feet tall. You can see how they actually take the headliner and then curve it upwards so that you have plenty of headroom. Backs of the seats, I love the material, nice soft. You have large pockets. This is where if you find some rattlesnake skin out here that's been, shedding its skin, you could put the skin back here. I remember once I found a bunch of snake skin in my backyard. My mom was just disgusted by it. Another thing you could do is maybe keep some anti-venom back here, because even Lori, while we were filming, saw 3 rattlesnakes. So we're gonna go and get some anti-venom and keep it back here, especially if you live in Arizona or New Mexico or something like that. You do have 2 massive AC vents. The only challenge is there's no AC controls back here. So that means the people in the back have to yell at the people at the front to change the temperature in the vehicle. So it's nice to have the AC vents. I just would like some controls. What do these little doors hide? USB-Cs, which are really nice. And then you have 3 stages of heated seats, no ventilated seats. And then you'll also notice how high the drive shaft tunnel is. So the drive shaft for the 4x4 system runs underneath here. I do like the way they put plastic so that when, you know, the kids and everybody's got their feet all over this, it's not gonna rip it up like you would the carpet, which is kind of nice. I just wish it wasn't so high, but that comes with the territory if you want an off-roading beast like this GX 550. We have oh crap handles in the back for the passengers as you're going off-roading. And if you have the paparazzi after you, you could actually put up the security shade, which is nice. Now the seats don't slide, so don't try to do it, but they do recline. Oh, I'm still filming. Sorry, I was about to take a nap. And then of course, semi-Charmin soft. I give it a Charmin half score, not a full Charmin score, but nice that it's got some softness with the 2 cup holders. Same materials up front, but let's get to the cargo area because I'm dying to go for a spin in this GX 550. All right, guys, so to get in the back, you got 2 different options. You could open up, like I said at the start of the video, the rear glass. Say you need to just go in and grab yourself your box of Twinkies before you get back to your party. You could easily do that and not have to open up the rear hatch. And it closes real simple. That's it. The next thing you could do is obviously hit the button right underneath the X in Lexus because X marks the spot. Nice electric assist. You're gonna be greeted to a ton of space. So like I was saying earlier, you could have this 3-row or 2-row. With this Overtrail Plus, it is 2-row, so that's gonna give you maximum room in that back seat area. And that is really what makes this such a versatile vehicle. You're looking at 90.5 cubic feet of space, which is just insane. Now, there's some good things and some bad things. One of the bad things is notice how high the rear bumper area is. So if you have to lift, you're at your camping site and you have to lift something and get it into the back, that's gonna be a bit of a hassle. And to fold the rear seats down, there's no handles back here. But what is nice is that you do have your home power source. And then to put the seats down, you actually have to come over to the passenger doors. Hi. And then basically get the seats out of the way like that. You could have it this way, or you could have it like that. It just depends on what you're putting back here. And then the seat goes back like that. So it is a little cumbersome. It is a little weird, but I think especially if you went on a Goonies trip and you found One-Eye Willie's treasure, the chest, you'll have plenty of room to get the chest in the back, plus all the other jewels and things, marbles and everything else that Mouth has in his mouth in the back of this vehicle. But guess what? I gotta go find some buried treasure of my own out here. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go take the GX 550 Overtrail Plus for a little on-throttle spin. All right, guys, we are inside this 2024 Lexus GX 550 Overtrail Plus. Now remember, we have adaptive suspension in the Overtrail Plus, and we have that new twin turbo V6 with 48 more horsepower. I want to start off the review on the right foot, the Raiti's Rides way. We're gonna go on throttle. I have the off-road screen set up so you can see the brake and accelerator application. I'm gonna go ahead and put it into Sport Plus. So if you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. Nice shifts from the 10 speed. So obviously with this vehicle weighing over 5,000 pounds, it's not gonna be a drag race vehicle, but you're gonna be pleasantly surprised with what the capability of this vehicle is. Of course, with the full 4x4 system, it gets the power to the ground very effectively. Visibility out the front is wonderful. Nice large windshield, and I'm really digging the greenhouse of this vehicle. What I mean by that is just how tall the side glass is, not only for the people up front, but the back seat and the rear as well. Now, when it comes to comfort, these seats, I love the soft Nulux material. Getting to everything is well within reach. You could bring up, obviously, your Lexus multimedia software with the maps and all of the different the driver profile, the other driver profiles, everything set up very easily in the screen. But going down the road, I think what you're gonna find is you're gonna get that nice, solid Lexus feel. The way they build vehicles at Lexus is very well done, especially when there is that J in the VIN, which this has the J, which means that it was made in Japan. But going down the road, I think the thing right away that's surprising me is that you're not getting a ton of tire noise. Remember, we have those more aggressive off-road spec tires. Those are true, real deal off-road spec tires, but I'm not getting a ton of tire noise, a bunch of road noise. So that's a nice compromise that they've made with this Overtrail Plus. All right, guys, we are now going off-roading in the GX 550 Overtrail Plus. And guess what? While we were driving out here, I actually came across another auto journalist that needed a ride back to the hotel. So we have Chris from the Topher. He's here. I was destitute and needed a Joe in shine. Yes, that's right. I saved him. He will not have to stay out here in Arizona with the cacti. But, you know, with this drive, we've had to modify the route a little bit because, as you can see, in what is normally desert Arizona is a little bit more damp, I would say, right, Chris? I mean, yeah, the cactuses they're swimming. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen it so green out here in Arizona on all the different media drives that we've been on. And a lot of different brands do go out to Arizona, which is nice, but this is definitely the first time I've been out here in the rain. But as we say, the show must go on. But let's get down to it. So we're following behind another GX, which is always good because it's cool just to see the back of the vehicle and how that rear suspension is doing the business. Of course, they retweaked the whole chassis, the suspension, and now finally having a dedicated off-roading style trim called the Overtrail, we now give it a little bit more that off-road cred. Getting to the infotainment system, like I showed you in the street drive, is easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'll turn on the forward-facing camera. I think one of the zonks, like I pointed out earlier, is that if this is gonna be an off-roading vehicle and you have a forward-facing camera, where's my washer? If you're gonna be in situations where definitely there's mud, there's dirt, there's debris that could cover up that camera, I would like the ability to be able to just hit that button and get it clean, 1, 2, 3. So that definitely is a little bit of a bummer. But I do like the way the information is displayed on that mega-sized infotainment system screen. I know we're always talking about infotainment when we're looking at maps and music and everything else. Nice to see how they have everything listed. Very easy to just take a quick glance at the pitch, at the roll, and even brake and throttle application, which is nice. Now, like you can see on the screen, we're in low. Of course, we're in 4x4 setup, and it's in auto. And we lock the center diff. With the Overtrail, you could also lock the rear diff, but for today's off-roading work, that's not gonna be necessary whatsoever. But right away, I think what I like that I could really share with you is just how easy it is to drive. You know, we talked about earlier, if you're going from an NX or an RX, and now you're saying to yourself, I want to play with the big boys, I want a GX, and you want to go with this Overtrail, then this is going to be comfortable to you. It's going to help you feel confident. And with all the technology that we have today, it's easy as can be. The 10-speed, of course, gives you a cornucopia of gears that it's gonna go through. So that's gonna be taking care of how the vehicle is being able to transfer that speed to the four wheels. And then now we have more ground clearance. So like I mentioned earlier, if you weren't paying attention, you were stuffing your face, eating a Twinkie or something, on your standard GX 550, you have 8.66666 repeating inches of ground clearance. This, if you do the rough math and you round, and we're rounding up, you have 8.9 inches of ground clearance. All right, guys, so now we're on a second trail, and we're gonna go and do a little bit kind of increased off-roading. What's awesome is the technology. I think people coming from previous GXs, they're gonna love the technology, especially this camera view, which allows me to see through the hood of the vehicle, and you're still gonna see the movement of the front tires, which is gonna allow you to go through different obstacles like we are now with ease. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways, is all the work that they did with the suspension tuning, with the chassis, makes this vehicle just a pleasure and an ease to operate as you're going through different off-road areas wherever you're living or wherever you're traveling. All right, guys, so we were able to upgrade to the second trail and get a little bit more of suspension articulation and show you some of the ins and outs of the capability of this all-new GX 550 Overtrail Plus. We're gonna get back to where this all started and wrap it up, so I'll see you in a nanosecond. All right, guys, it's been one heck of a first drive with this Lexus GX 550 Overtrail Plus. We gotta thank the whole Lexus team for inviting us out to Arizona to get first dibs on this redesign of a long-standing nameplate in their lineup. But let me know what you think. First of all, question number one, do you think it's worth the price? Quite a bit of do-re-mi. And is this the better luxury off-roading SUV over the Land Rover Defender? Let me know down in that comment section what your feelings and thoughts are. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti Rides family. We got to give it up to LG Raiti. Without her, this would not happen. And boy, oh boy, is she able to put in the work to just make that video magic yours for the taking. But thank you, Lori, for your hard work. She's telling me to wrap it up right now because sometimes I could talk. And just like always, I'll see you on the next ride.